So one of the things that's become very, very obvious on the right is that a lot of these party insiders, ultimately, when push comes to shove, they are authoritarian. They will fall in line behind the alpha dog. This is something that we've known for quite a while, but the examples of it that we've seen recently are incredibly stark, to say the least. So one good example is you had Governor Sununu was a huge backer of Nikki Haley, and in the process of backing Nikki Haley, he made some vicious arguments against Trump, basically going with the line that he's totally unfit, he doesn't have the characteristics or the qualities to be a good leader in office, he's a dangerous man. He said a lot of super harsh things against Trump. But he also, in the midst of attacking him ruthlessly, he would say, and if he's the party nominee, I'll support him. Anyway, don't pay attention to that part. Anyway. And then what happened? Basically, immediately after Nikki Haley has to step out of the race, he comes out and endorses Trump. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. It's super weak, right? Because it's like, why? Why do they do it? On the one hand, you can make an ideological argument of, at the end of the day, they prioritize more tax cuts for the rich. They prioritize more deregulation. They prioritize cutting the career bureaucrats from the government. They prioritize more interventionist foreign policy. Like, you can make an ideological argument. Hey, that's why I'll support him, because ideologically, he's more in agreement with me. But there is another argument, which is like, they know that where Trump is where their base is right now. And so there's like a real raw careerist, I need to save my ass element to it also, right? Could also be a money thing. They know that if Trump's the standard bearer, then in order for them to be relevant in politics, they need to raise money from the same donors, so they're going to have to kiss the ring, because if they don't kiss the ring, then their donors will abandon them, right? There's a whole bunch of different psychological and monetary and careerist implications here. But what I'm about to show you right now is perhaps, honestly, the saddest of the cuckings I've ever seen. So here's Bill Barr. He was in the Trump administration. This is one of the guys who we have to thank for the fact that the coup attempt didn't work, that the fake elector slate and the January 6th stuff, we have Bill Barr to thank. Hey, man, thank you for standing up to Trump and saying, no, motherfucker, I'm not going to go seize the voting machines. No, I'm not okay with you signing off on martial law. You need to be okay with the peaceful transfer of power. We're not going to release a statement backing up your insanity that the election was stolen. No, we're not doing that. This is what Bill Barr did. He stood up to Trump in that respect when he was in the administration. Well, now here we are. He's on Fox Business talking to Neil Cavuto, and he's going to be asked about who he's supporting in 2024. Get ready.
For all of your problems with your former boss and all the issues that he raised in office and all the damage you argue he had done, are still supporting him over Joe Biden. That surprised you. It didn't surprise me. I know you had said before you would support the Republican ticket, and you are, but he's heading that ticket for all those warts and problems you cited. Why?
Right. Well, yeah, I'm not happy with the choice. I think this is a terrible choice for the country, but it is a choice. At the end of the day, we have to select between two different individuals, and I've said all along that I think it's my duty to pick the person I think will do the least harm to the country, and I think that to me, that's clearly Trump and the Republican administration, which I think is important. I think, getting control over the border, stopping the lawlessness in our cities, building up the strength of the United States in an ever more dangerous world, stop the avalanche of regulation that is strangling business and our technological superiority. These are critical things that have to be done, and I think that we'll get them done under a Trump administration. At the same time, I think the Biden administration is, in fact, the greater threat to democracy. I think they have a totalitarian temper. They have bought into the progressive movement, and they're trying to squelch opposition and freedom of speech.
Bill Barr is not running for office. Bill Barr is not a governor. He's not a senator. He's not a congressman. Bill Barr is not in any relevant position of power anymore, period. And he's still endorsing Trump. And his main argument is that, well, I think Biden is a bigger threat to democracy. Motherfucker, you helped thwart the coup that Trump was trying to do. You helped stop it. You were one of the few brave voices that spoke up and said, I can't let this motherfucker get away with this. This is crazy. You know he's a bigger threat. You know that if Joe Biden loses, he'll go quietly into the sunset. You know you don't have to worry about him making a stink over, actually, it was rigged and I really won and they're lying to you and now I'm going to do a fake elector slate. Now I'm going to try to stay in power. Now I'm going to try to call senators to get them to object and send the slates back to the states and send the fake elector slates. And you know, as a matter of ironclad fact, he tried to steal the election. You stopped him. And now you have the nerve to get up there and say, I'm for Trump because Biden's a bigger threat to democracy. Look, man, we would not be doing this segment if he just said that first part. His first part was like, hey, look, I don't like the choice. I don't like either one of them. But at the end of the day, it's going to be one of the two. And so if I have input, the reason why I'm picking Trump is very simply because I think he's tougher on crime, and I think he'll deregulate, and I love deregulation, and I love cutting taxes for the rich, and I love this policy and that policy. If he had just left it at that, I wouldn't be doing this segment. Because you hear that and you go, you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. You understand all the dangers associated with Trump, but ultimately at the end of the day, you care more about tax cuts for billionaires and corporations, and that's your prerogative. Fine. But he didn't just leave it at that. He said Biden is a bigger threat to democracy. Now, by the way, is Biden a threat to democracy? Well, as far as I know, there was only one political party that canceled primary elections. We had the Democratic Party of Florida, the Democratic Party of North Carolina, and the Democratic Party in, I believe, at least 2 other states as well said, oh, we're not going to have an election. Oh, we know Marianne Williamson is running. We don't care. Oh, we know Dean Phillips is running. We don't care. We know Cenk Uygur's trying to run. We don't care. No election here. It's Biden's entitled to it. We're just handing it over to him, no questions asked. We're canceling the election. That is deeply authoritarian. That is deeply anti-democratic. That is a threat to democracy. Here's the difference. I don't excuse that for 1 second. That's a horrific crime. But we also all understand that in a general election, if Joe Biden loses, he's walking away. He ain't going to try to say, I won. He's not going to make a big deal out of it. He's not going to try to declare martial law or seize the voting machines. We know all of that. Both of those things are true at the same time. But he has the nerve to say, Biden's a bigger threat to democracy, and oh yeah, he's just too progressive. He's too progressive. He's too progressive. You know which voters were the first ones to abandon him? It was the progressives. Why? I don't know. Maybe because he's arming and funding and backing a genocide? Right? Maybe because Build Back Better, which was his plan, his proposal, which was phenomenal, was the biggest transformation of the U.S. economy since the New Deal. He ended up axing 80% of it with the help of Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. The idea that he's some sort of hardline progressive, please, I wish he was that. I wish he was that. The fact of the matter is, he's, depending on how you want to score it, anywhere from center left to center right, somewhere in that ballpark, right? This should be right up your alley. This should be right up your alley, Bill Barr. But no. He wants to roll the dice on an outright authoritarian. He had the nerve to call Biden totalitarian. Are you kidding me? You know this guy tried to steal the election. You know he'll try to do it again. You know he's going to surround himself with hardcore loyalists. There won't be a Bill Barr in this administration because he wants everybody around him who's going to be a yes man. No matter what he says, yes, sir. And you're still okay with him being the one? Look, this is why I've told you guys 1,000 times. And this is the problem that cable news makes too, the liberal networks. Just because somebody says some shit that's critical of Trump does not mean you should treat them as a hero. Because at the end of the day, virtually all these Republicans do an about face. And they get down and they kiss his ring, and then they also get down and kiss his ass. That's what happens. That's what happens. I guess the only one that didn't is who? I think Nikki Haley, right? And I'm shocked by that. I was convinced she'd be first in line to be like, I'm for Trump. For whatever reason, he touched a nerve, and she's like, I'm just not going to say shit. She's like the only one. All the others were like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me coddle your ball sack, sir. I really thought Bill Barr would not be the one to come out and do this. I really thought that. But he did. He witnessed the coup attempt. He helped thwart it. And he's out here like, Biden's a bigger threat to democracy. What am I supposed to do with these guys, man? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. But this is embarrassing. That's all I can say. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.